What's up, gorgeous? I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to another episode of the Fierce Framework, where we talk about becoming fierce through messy action, baby steps, and growing your confidence. I'm your host, Mary Beth. I'm just an ADHD girly with a dream to see the women around me living their own dreams, specifically by helping us grow successful businesses. So, I'm your business coach, Bestie, and this podcast is all about inspiring stories, practical advice, and just those things, those pieces you need to help keep you going, provide encouragement, just stories from my own experience to help you keep going and kind of learn from one another, right? So I love bringing on other business owners who are in a kind of similar journey, navigating the waters of entrepreneurship. And one of my favorites is Amickoleh. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, we've had her on before, so I'm sure you already love her. And again, if you've been listening to the podcast, you also know I love long conversations and I don't love long podcast episodes. So this is actually a three-parter. I know, I'm so sorry. But we talk about everything from being a neurodivergent entrepreneur, we talk about being a conscious entrepreneur, money blocks, taking up space, and then at the end we tag in a little bit of time about my trip to Belize. So I believe in working smarter, not harder. Making things easy. So yes, I am absolutely doing one intro for all of these episodes. There will be links and more information in the description, in the show notes, as always, so that you can make sure that you're following Amickoleh, because she is incredible. One of the things I love about her is that instead of following like the standard format of one person is interviewing and then it's their episode and they release it, she was willing to share the recording with me, so I'm putting it out as well. But you'll be able to see the same type of episode on her platforms. So I definitely encourage you to give her a follow, check her out. I absolutely love her, and I hope that you enjoy these 3 episodes with my friend Amickoleh. Instead of being like, oh, there's something wrong with me, I need help, I should be able to do this myself, or beating yourself up, turning that around like you were saying and be like, no, this is an opportunity. I'm investing in other
Mm-hmm.
people, I'm building other people's businesses by giving them money.
Mm-hmm.
And I also love, because we don't talk about money enough, then that comes back to us of like, I have to allow myself to want to make money
Mm.
so that I can support all these people that I want to support.
Mm.
Because a lot of it, like, our money
Wow.
blocks are crazy,
Wow.
and it's like we're not
That
supposed to want
was
money. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead, finish what you about to say.
I was just gonna say, like, we're not supposed to want money, but it's like we're not white men. We can't just exploit free labor. Like, we don't, which is good because I don't want to. But it's like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna just have somebody show up and like be my wife and clean and cook for me. So I have to hire somebody. So I have to have money.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. I was just gonna piggyback off what you said about the money blocks. Because I decided to step back from Miami, working with a company, and I, went to dinner one night, and I was like, trying to read the room, make sure I'm not talking about business too much or whatever, and I just felt like I was like, oh, I just really want to. And I actually felt this question come up earlier in the afternoon before we went to dinner, and I was like, okay, I felt a good opportunity to ask them this question. And so the question was, um, how did I put it? Because the gentleman that I was speaking with, he used to be an engineer. So he had like a corporate 9 to 5 situation,
Um,
probably worked more than 9 to 5, but like in the very corporate get up, and now he's an entrepreneur with his partner. He started this he's been helping her with her company that she co-founded. And so I asked him, I was like, what has been the biggest lesson for you since becoming an entrepreneur, like leaving the corporate
mm,
world? And he brought up the thing about time around no, he put it really well. He was like, when you're working at a 9 to 5, you have no control. You just do the work that they tell you to do. Whereas when you're in entrepreneurship, like you have all the control, and obviously that can swing both good, quote unquote, good and bad ways,
yeah,
But
yeah.
basically, he was just saying like you have complete ownership of the good and the bad, essentially. So further on into the conversation, his partner brings up the money blocks, you know. So she's like thinking, okay, what about you? Like, what has been some of your biggest revelations since, you know, really growing the business and things like that? And she brought up the money blocks piece. She was like going through hypnosis and getting rid of the money blocks. And she was like, it's so liberating because she's like, once you clear all of those extra voices out of your head, you just have so much like capacity and energy to focus on what you actually want to create.
Mm.
And when she said that, I was just like, oh, but I've been working on my money blocks. But I was like, what other hypnosis can I get my hands on to wipe these bad boys out? Because like you said, it's like, and also too, like what Spirit's been showing me is like we all come to this planet with our own inheritance, like our own soul's inheritance.
Mm.
It's like money, resources, connections, everything that like our soul desires and requires to complete its mission on this lifetime, right?
Mm.
And the only thing that's stopping us or blocking us from receiving that is like our awareness to that reality, and
Mm.
B, our allowance, our acceptance, like you said, allowing ourselves to make money, to want money, to have more than enough money, to have plenty, you know, to be
Mm.
able to something that I've been listening to from Neville Goddard. He says, you know, to be able to spend wisely and give generously. And I was like, ooh, I love that so much.
Love
Spend
that.
wisely and
Yeah.
give generously, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, there's nothing wrong with wanting that. That is how, and that's
Right.
something, you know, that Rachel Rogers preaches. It's like, that's how we create the community. That's how we create the change we want to see in the world. It's like, you got to
Yeah.
invest in that,
Yeah.
you know? And yes, there's mental investment, there's spiritual investment, there's all that. But at the end
Mm.
of the day, it also comes down to that financial piece is going to be in there somewhere, you know?
Right.
And we can't like try to act like, oh no, like we could just correct, you know, just correct no, there's nothing wrong with being wealthy. I'm very much on the conscious wealth train.
Amen. Yes.
Okay, especially if it's mine, it's already there out there waiting for me to
Right.
recognize it, waiting for me to receive it, to prepare for it, to allow
Mm.
myself to have it.
I love that so much. And I love like the mindset, like it's already yours. You're not taking it from someone. It's not a zero sum game. Like that, I love like it just shows your abundance mindset. And I love that.
Mm,
That you're not taking it from someone. It's already yours. And if you don't receive it, this is gonna go to waste.
mm-hmm,
It's not like it's someone else's. So you might as well, right?
mm-hmm,
Like,
mm-hmm.
and I
Might as
love how you
well.
mentioned when she was talking about the hypnosis and like clearing out like that mental clutter. Holy cow. Like
Mm-hmm.
pivoting away from money a little bit, sorry, but like we don't talk about that enough. Okay? And side note, I love a man who's like supporting his wife's entrepreneur journey. Like I love it so much. I know I talk a lot of shit about dudes, but like I love it because I'm like that is yeah, like it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rachel Rogers' husband,
Mm-hmm.
he's just so supportive, and he I think they worked together, they did, and like I just love it so much. And like the way he
Yeah.
took over like so many household things, like it's beautiful. Like it should be a partnership, and I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, it just makes my heart so happy, and I feel like I have to say the positive things because I certainly do say them. Hey, so you know, on this podcast, we're always talking about how to make progress towards your goals and reach your dreams. But what if you're stuck or you're not sure where to go next or you need some more support, right? Well, I am so excited to let you know that I have a couple of openings available for a free business strategy session. I know it's a mouthful, but what it is essentially a free coaching session with me. It's really an opportunity to get to know more about you and your business and where you might be stuck or needing some inspiration or a different perspective or some new insight or someone to bounce some ideas off of. And it gives us a chance to work together with no obligation from you, right? So you get that free session, and then we both have a chance to see, like, does this feel like a good fit? Do we feel like we could benefit from continuing this type of relationship? And then of course, if we feel like it's right and we want to keep working together, I can send you a link for future coaching. But that first session is free for potential new clients. So if you've worked with me before, I'm sorry, I love you. It's not for you. We already did that. I can't wait to see you again. But potential new client doesn't mean that you have to buy anything. It's just someone who hasn't been my client before. So if you feel like you could benefit from an hour talking strategy, getting new perspectives, getting you unstuck and back to business, back to making money, and on track to hit your goals, I'll include the link in the description so you can go ahead and get signed up for your free business strategy session so we can get you unstuck, inspired, and back to hitting those goals. All right, let's jump back into the episode. But that
Oh,
mental clutter. Oh, yeah, and that's why I had to put this in because I'm like prefacing. Once I got divorced, I had
child,
like
I be forgetting
so
you got
much.
married.
I know, me too. I'm like,
I was like, skirt, what? Divorce, huh? I
I
forgot.
know. I'm sorry. It's very off brand. I'm so sorry. um, but like the capacity, the
Mm,
emotional capacity I had was like, but like, so I'm using that to highlight like my experience that I feel like is similar to that mental clutter type thing and how important it is because like, we get so used to it. I think
mm-hmm.
because like we, you grow
Mm,
up with it and like you're always like being told these things and it's like the self-talk too. Like you're always having like these things fed into you of like expectations and shame and like all these things and being able to clear that out
mm,
is a game changer. We talk about time versus capacity.
mm-hmm.
Holy shit. Clear out that mental clutter, clear out that emotional clutter.
Yeah.
And like you're gonna realize you have so much more room for like your like what's actually important to your soul and the things that you
Mm-hmm.
actually care about to finally grow once they're not being like held down and stifled by like all that random crap that we have bouncing around.
Man. Oh man. Oh, it's that liberation.
Mm.
It's that liberation. It's giving ourselves the gift of liberating ourselves from the mental and emotional like loops, the
Mm-hmm.
loops. I love that you brought up that emotional piece. That's something that Spirit has been really putting on my heart more and more and more. That I've like have been okay. We're like growing into this, but just really honoring and recognizing and teaching more about the emotional body and that um how much our emotional body is like what's actually communicating with the world. Like that is actually the energy that we're emitting is from the
Yeah.
emotional field because the water is a conductor, and we're what 75% water. So literally
Yeah.
our emotions, the emotions that are in our body, that are in our muscles, in our tissues, like that is what's being emitted out into the world and what's creating the
Mm.
reality around us, building our reality. And that's something I've been, I teach, I do a lot in my work, but like just really getting an understanding of like, oh, like energy work, it's emotional work. It's emotional wellness. It's emotional healing. It's emotional, because at the end of the day, it's like the mental health part is great, but if your emotional body is still looping, your mind is going to be looping as well, and really taking a look at like what are those really looks like your nervous system. It's like what is triggering you, what is activating you, what gets you like you start feeling that heat rise, that tightness, your throat's constricting. It's like you got to observe that and be like, okay, what was said, what was the perception of the experience that just happened, that's like I'm having this very physical reaction, you know
Mm.
and it just takes awareness, practice, and awareness. And the same thing with money. It's like if you're going to the grocery store, or the bank account is running low, same thing. It's like if you're having that feeling, these experiences come up through your physical body, it's like we got to pause and take a look at that and get an understanding. Okay, like what is this, like what is the perception here, what is this reminding me of, what is
Mm.
the fear here? It's usually connected
Mm.
to some kind of fear point. And but yeah, but and just work doing that energy work to clear that out, clear that out, clear that out. And it just patience, not my strong suit, but I'm learning to love it.
Especially patience with
Learning to love
yourself.
it. Yes. Yes. Patience with ourselves. Oof. Self
Yeah,
patience. Is that a thing? Self patience.
it needs to be. Because I'll be like so patient with everybody else, and then I don't get
Oh
it right on the first
man.
time. And I'm like, What is happening? What are we doing?
Oh my goodness.
And then I'm
Okay.
like, who are you talking to, Mary Beth? Like, you wouldn't talk to anyone else this way. That's crazy.
No.
So yeah, self-patience needs to be a
Of
thing.
patience.
I
Yes,
think especially as
100%.
like ADHDers, right? Because we're always told like do better, you get that message verbally or not. And so like
Mm-hmm.
we internalize it and then we're beating ourselves up.
Mm.
Like, why aren't you doing better? You should be catching on to this faster. Like, which again ties in the entrepreneurship. And it's like, babe, this is the first time you've ever done this. Like, what crazy expectation do you have
Man.
where you thought you were gonna go from a corporate job to creating your own business out of thin air,
Woo!
and now you're
I feel
putting all this
attacked.
pressure on you to like
I feel attacked.
succeed overnight? I'm talking to myself. I'm so sorry.
This.
Like, what is happening? Like the audacity to expect that from myself, as the TikTokers would
Mm.
say, a former baby.
Former baby. Oh my goodness.
Like,
Yeah.
you just got here. You've been
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneuring for like, whatever, a couple years. Like everybody's journey is different, but it's like, you just got here. You're creating this out of thin air.
Mm.
Give yourself some grace.
Mm-hmm. Grace. Oof. Yes. I love that. Excuse me. I love that you brought up grace because that is like, it's like that's what's going to keep the joints lubricated. That's what's going to keep
Mm,
us in the game.
right.
It's just that grace. We got to give ourselves that grace to be like, okay, so we bumped our head. How can we look at this differently? How can we pivot? How can we pivot? That should just be like that is like the number one question. Like just let that just keep pivoting until
Yes.
you get it. Like that's
Yes.
it. Just keep pivoting until you're like, oh, I got it. Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
No, I love that you said that because again, sorry, I got ADHD in my head. Like everything's tying back. But we get so much like crap and then it turns into shame for bouncing around, which
Mm-hmm.
is a double-edged sword. There is benefits to be reaped when you are able to hone in on one thing and finish it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we take it too far and we try to push ourselves to finish things that were meant for a season. And so
Ooh.
we try to like shame ourselves into staying stuck or not like redirecting our focus or like it I started out like personal coaching
Mm-hmm.
and then it took like allowing myself to realize that I much prefer business coaching and like that's more like where my mind goes. And I had to like allow myself to accept that because there was a lot of like self-doubt and imposter syndrome and stuff. And then it wasn't until recently when I was like, bro, ADHD entrepreneurs is like because we work differently than everybody else. And like that's why a
Mm-hmm.
lot of this like standard advice isn't working. And
Mm-hmm.
but it's like if you don't allow yourself to pivot, then you're not going to allow yourself to move from excellence to genius
Ooh.
because you're going to force yourself to stay stuck because like that's the path you chose, however arbitrary or not. Like so when you force yourself to stay on a path instead of accepting that that was a stepping stone and now we're moving on to something else, like you're literally keeping yourself stuck. And so
Mm.
while there is value in discipline and choosing to pursue something when it gets hard, there's also a lot of value in letting things go when that season is over and allowing yourself to pivot and tweak and become more focused.
Mm.
Because at every level, like we're learning and growing and developing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, like, I wasn't ready to be a business coach before. Like, I had to lay that foundation and I had to do some work and I had to become the next version of myself. And then
Mm.
it's like, okay. So it's not like, and this ties back into like giving yourself grace. It's not that I messed up or made the wrong decision first. Because I think that's a lot of it too. Is like we expect ourselves to like pick the perfect path or like the perfect
Mm-hmm.
business out of thin air, and it's like you're not there yet. Like now that you've met with these entrepreneurs, right, with your training in Miami, how many doors is that going to open now? And
Mm-hmm.
it's not that you chose wrong or you were on the wrong path of what you were doing before. It's that you had to get to this place where now you've made this new connection. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the same with like every opportunity, every season we have is like you're laying that foundation and you're literally like becoming the person. And now you're ready for the next thing.
Mm. Mm. I love that. Thank you for
That's my
sharing
soapbox.
that. No, that was
Thank you for
incredible.
listening.
It's incredible. And it's something that, I've been talking about, this law of identity. And that's literally what you just described. It's like becoming that version of self. Excuse me, becoming that version of self in order to receive the desire, the manifestation, the reality, the goal, et cetera, et cetera. And what I've been learning about creating through identity instead of like forcing and all these other ways is that it allows things to come through so much more easily and effortlessly. And like that is something that I've been like craving. Like I am so like, get me off of this challenge. Everything has to be hard and like on grinding and like no,
Yeah.
I'm good. I did that already. I already did that. We want the ease, we want the flow, we want the grace. And really shifting, doing the work, and like this is something that Wallace D. Waddles talks about in The Science of Getting Rich. He's like the most laborious job in the world is like our mental work, doing that mindset
Mm-hmm.
work. You
Yeah.
you want to talk about hard work? Get your mind together. Clock into that.
Seriously.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clock into that from 9 to 5 and see how you feeling. Like that's the real work. That is the real work, and then everything else comes is able to flow through more easily because we've again, that going back to that mental clutter piece, we've given ourselves that space.
Thank you so much for joining me on this past episode of the Fierce Framework, where we talk about becoming fierce through taking a messy action, baby steps, and growing your confidence. I'm your host, Mary Beth. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you got a lot out of the episode. If you're looking for a little bit more, make sure that you are subscribed to my newsletter. I drop a new email every week. I'm also on social media platforms at the Fierce Framework, and I do have some coaching spots opening up. So if that's something you're interested in, you want to connect on that, feel free to drop me a DM or check out the link that I've included in the description. I can't wait to see you next time, and until then, keep becoming fierce.